When you say that he had promised you that he was going to stay clean, can you detail like what was that conversation like?
Yes, I can. Um, After doing so many years in prison, and instead of being handled him more carefully, he was living with me. Instead of helping keeping him clean, he was given a gun and a job, and of course he went back to drugs. Yes, he did. Instead of being watched, his was a gun, a truck, an old truck, and a gun.
Wait, who did this?
Uh, I don't know what.
Who gave him the gun?
The gun, a truck. Okay, that's what he was giving.
This was you said that when he was living with you that he was given this?
After the next day that he came out of prison after doing X amount of years, yes, that was his gift.
That was his gift from who?
Okay, from Jay, Jose, or whatever they call him.
And I believe you're talking about Joe. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, I am. I don't know why I have to act so. Yes, I am the only one. Jocelyn Romero is the only one that was able to control Charlie. Okay.
So during the last years of your brother's life, he was still very brokenhearted over his relationship with Joe.
Yes,
I think that he made it very clear that he looked at Joe as a brother, like he genuinely loved him.
And he did.
And he did. And did you guys ever have any conversations about how he felt about Joe?
I did. And I said to him, you know what? Let it go. And then I asked him when he wrote the book, I said, if he comes to you, he goes, you know what? All this is, if Joe comes to me, I love him. I love him unconditionally. He did love Joe. Even to the end, he loved Joe.
Why do you think that he loved Joe so much?
Because they were brothers. They were the same age. They were brothers. They were brothers.
I feel like Charlie did so much to try to protect Joe, try to hold him down, whatever, it required. And when Charlie felt like he was tossed aside, like he was nothing, he just couldn't understand it. And it almost like tormented him,
It did. It did. It tormented him a lot. Especially, he came out after a long time. Then he went back.
Right. Did Charlie tell you about the conversation that Joe told him, like, I can't be around you? Like, what did he say specifically to you?
No, that conversation he never had with me. But I was kind of relieved because Charlie was more like a bodyguard. He used him.
Right.
Like I said, who does 18 years in prison and comes out and the next day you have a gun? And you have him collecting money. Who does that? Who does that?
When you say that he was collecting money for Joe, what specifically was he doing, collecting money from?
I don't know but it was people that owe him or people that didn't want to pay him. But that's what he handed him. And that's when I told Joe in front of Lorena, if my brother goes back to jail, I won't forgive you. Because Joe also respects me a lot. He has a lot of respect for me.
So you had this conversation with Joe in front of his wife, telling him, basically, you got my brother doing some dirty things, and if he ends up going back to prison, I won't forgive you because you're the reason why.
That is correct. And he did go back, like I said.
And this was after he had got out after like 12 years. Was that right? Something like that in that time. And when he came back out, do you think that the second time was Charlie a different person at that time? Was he changed? Was he willing to change his life?
Yes.
Okay. And that was at that point, that's when Joe told him that I couldn't be around you. Is that right?
But maybe a month after Charlie came out of prison from doing all those years, he got arrested. Hello. And he was out within 5 hours, still being on parole.
Wow.
Who does that? And when he said, Charlie called me up, he was scared because he was on parole. And he said, don't worry, Joe got this. Within 5 hours, my brother was still on parole. You get arrested, you're going back. 5 hours later, my brother was out.
And this was the second time that he had got out, right? This was after he had
No time. This
the
is
first
the first time.
Okay, so this is the first time. And so in your eyes, he was using Charlie for bad purposes, basically for his own greedy purposes, own selfish reasons, right?
That's correct.
And why do you think that Charlie was not able to see past that, to see that, hey, like maybe this guy really doesn't care about me?
He couldn't see past that. He couldn't.
Just the love was blinding him? Did you ever have any conversations with Charlie to tell him that, hey, Joe is using you?
I did. My husband did as well. Yes, I did.
And what was Charlie's reaction to that?
No, he's not. He was.
And so even with you, his basically the person that he loves more than anybody in this world telling him, you know, that Joe is using you, he still couldn't believe it because he was that loyal to Joe.
That is correct.